How do you want your movie to feel? Do you want it to feel like it was shot on location? Do you want to feel like it was shot on set? With a fantasy, there's a bit of reality to start with that anchors people. Progressively, the fantasy gets more acceptable once you kind of develop that reality base and that confidence with the audience.
It's the biggest secret in the world. And that particular place is so remarkable.
Otherworldly. It's like almost like another planet.
Everywhere you look is fantastic landscape. That was the kind of thing that Knight was looking for, to ground the movie in reality. He wanted to start off somewhere where it's really cold there, it's really ice, it's icebergs.
I never really believed it until I saw it. When I looked out the window of that plane, it was like surreal.
Greenland was so beautiful. Ice, 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 ice.
Knight said on the plane right there, the thing that I want to be okay is the temperature, you know, it's 0.
It's freezing.
It was very cold.
That's one of the hardest things in this movie.
30-degree below weather. Sometimes it would get up above 0.
It was a dream, and one I was very scared about, you know, because I've shot only in Philadelphia, basically. All the things I'd heard about the weather, and I have children, and how cold it is. Now, you know, we were told that exposure on some days would be 30 seconds. That's all that they would be able to be exposed to the cold, and so I was concerned.
I actually thought that was going to be the hardest thing for me, but it wasn't. I mean, you have to think Qatar is going to be cold, you're cold, and you have to think that, you know, they kept you warm.
Warming tents for people. We had extreme cold weather gear. It was one place that you really wanted to over-prepare for because we were only going to have one shot.
He'd make special provisions for the equipment, everything.
You know, you could be dogmatic about the aesthetic of things, and literally everywhere you turn it was gorgeous, but you really had to take into account how a film crew is going to operate in this environment.
Okay, something like that, yes, that's what we're looking for, okay? Fireball coming at you, everyone.
They were actually the biggest challenge in the movie. We had to make 2 versions of the Southern Water Tribe, one for below freezing temperatures and bad weather, and then one for the stage, so they wouldn't boil. I'm kind of anti-fur. So it was a challenge for me to solve it without using skins and fur as much as possible. Their garments are not made of skins, they're actually cotton that is all painted and stitched together like skins, but the extras are all in fake fur.
You know, we were really blessed in Greenland to have a bunch of extras who were had all their heart in the film. And we had these little kids. I had to lead around because I was kind of like in charge. I was like, "You ready to rock and roll?" And they didn't understand a single thing I was saying. But when I marched them into the tent, and then after the next take, I was like, "You guys ready?" And one of the kids goes, "Rock and roll."
Because it was such an unknown, there were very few people that have shot where we were, and we built a very extensive set up there.
For me, it would be the way I would love to do the entire movie, and if we were lucky enough to make 2 and 3, I would love to build the sets on location. It just makes it all so real and wonderful.
The only thing that's not real is that the shells of the igloos are fiberglass, and we made those as a kit of parts that could be assembled up there with bolts.
The Southern Water Tribe set was amazing. Like the glaciers out, beautiful glaciers, the big gate.
It's very practically difficult to build your sets in mountains and in landscapes like that, but it's breathtaking for everybody.
The guys with Zuko will be standing there. They all form into formation, ready to march out.
The Fire Nation came, and we got to see them in all their black and their army, and they were being kind of drilled by a Marine sergeant that we had, and it was just a powerful thing to see them marching into the village for the first time. Seeing Dev kind of take off his helmet, enter the movie, and enter our lives and enter kind of the consciousness of cinema. You really felt it to that moment, like, you know, the snow was moving around, and he takes off his helmet and he's doing his speech.
And heir to the throne.
And we were on the camera kind of jockeying back and forth just to create a sense of apprehension and adrenaline.
What's your name?
The wind hits your face, and half of it goes jelly. And, you know, my eyelashes were freezing over, and I was trying to be angry at Noah, and I had no saliva in my mouth. It was just all icicles. It was great, though. You know, the scenery is picturesque. When you look at the dailies, it's like you're looking at a screensaver. Every time I'd open my window and look out, it was just icebergs and huskies and snow, and it was just beautiful white, you know, blinding to the eye.
In Greenland, a lot of the sets were way far away, and the only way to get to them was by helicopter. We were filming on glaciers in the middle of of glaciers.
People take a car to set. We took a helicopter to set.
You're watching the ground, and a couple times I got to sit in the front, right by the pilot, and you just see a panoramic view of everything in front of you, and it is incredible.
One of my favorite locations we shot on was basically, it was a frozen riverbed where all the glaciers had kind of turned upside down. So you were seeing the bottoms of them, and they were all like in all these amazing shapes and all.
It was a pleasant surprise because it wasn't really there the year before, and Mother Nature formed it as such, and it was almost like art and sculpture. It couldn't be more true to what we had visioned for the sequence.
So when we arrived there and we were all sort of walking out on the lake for the first time, you felt like you were in a different place, on a different planet.
They had to put screws in our shoes in order for us to stop falling on the frozen lake location. And there's this one scene where we're about to discover Ong trapped in the ice, and the ice starts breaking everywhere, and we have to run.
It starts cracking, then you stand up, and then you say, "It's a cave-in, run! It's a cave-in, run!"
And we're running on frozen lake. And she fell, and I quickly grab her, and we keep going, and it's real. It's, that wasn't rehearsed, it wasn't planned that way. I got to show that big brotherly side.
Well, the ice was plenty thick everywhere, but the danger was, and it was always making these creaking, groaning sounds, and it was just constantly encroaching on us.
The glacier face here, which is peeling up the ice of the lake, come about 30 feet closer than it did a month ago.
And it changes daily. Everything's moving. Everything is just like shifting and moving. And of course, it's snowing and not snowing.
The weather is great here, but the weather back where we came from in Ilulissat is starting to get socked in. So we have to wrap everything and get out quickly so we can all get home safely.
You have a window if weather's changing. Weather changes so fast out there because you can get trapped out there and they can't fly you out. And so on this particular day, we heard a storm is coming. And so everyone had to get evacuated out. Because it takes 5 loads, I just kept on shooting. So I was like, roll cameras, go, go. And we would get as much as we could before they yanked me out. We had the greatest guys taking care of us, but they were hardcore. They were like, you're leaving.
And I think that was important for the story, that we set it up in a reality that's still a sort of mythical reality and a spiritual reality, but it's a reality.
We had some of our best times. It's when we really got to know each other and bond, because we had nothing else to do in the evening. We hang around and we talk, so it was fun.
Is it better to do it here, do everything CG, or to go to a real place? And we felt that going to a real place to set things up for the movie was the right thing to do.
Coming to an end. Sad.
In retrospect, one of the great experiences of my life. In a place that was untouched by us, and even the people that live there, they're kind of so isolated. They have their own culture and their whole way of being that's refreshing and stunning to be around.